Hi, welcome back to Community Focus here on Channel 6 TV. I'm Kenny Fogle, your host. Glad you could be with us and able to stop at a place sort of near and dear to my heart here right now. It's American Legion Post 121 here in Bardstown. It's the old Kentucky-owned post. And one of the things, American Legion obviously is a great place for veterans to come together, a little camaraderie, to get together and discuss issues that are affecting veterans. But one of the things they do is they provide a service officer that provides help to veterans. And one of the things they help them with is finding VA benefits or other things that veterans may or may not even know they qualify for, and if they do qualify for them, how to go about figuring out how to go about getting the benefits. So I've got a couple of people here with me today. Service officer here at the post, Leon Donahue, and Leon's protege here, Steve Tolliver. So Leon, first of all, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Okay. So what is a service officer? What exactly does a service officer do?
Well, the people come in, and some of them don't know if they qualify for benefits, and we try to research that with people in authority. Or in some cases, we have a book which lists a lot of these benefits. A lot of it is information given. For instance, recently we found that a lot of people don't know, the Vietnam vets don't know about the Agent Orange Registry, which is very important for them. My understanding is that they can anticipate health changes based on the amount of poison that they encounter.
Really?
And so it can be medicated before it happens.
So you basically can map out what disease you're going to get next based on how much Agent Orange you were exposed to.
I'm sure it's a lot of guesswork, but it's a benefit. If any Agent Orange Vietnamese vet, the first step for them is usually to get on that registry. Mm-hmm. We've sent quite a few people down there. Mm-hmm.
So that's one of the keys to it about the Veterans Administration or anything else. They don't publicize a lot what's available to them. So if you really want to find out what programs are available, it's people such as yourself that they have to come find out from.
Right. I had a good teacher on that. About 3 years ago, Joe Masterson had been doing this job, and he got into the basics pretty good, and what he didn't know, Brandy Fisher, he has no trouble answering a question at all. He's the book as far as information about this, and we go to him all the time.
Okay. So, Steve, I know you're sort of stepping up and doing a little bit of this too. Now, so what kind of training? Is there any kind of training you have to go through to be a service officer?
I guess I'm on the job training. Yeah, and we do have classes once a year we go to, and Randy Fisher is one. He's the paid guy. He does it full time for the American Legions, and he puts on I guess you call it a seminar where he gives us updates and tells us, stuff we need to know, and we usually have that once a year.
Yeah.
Last year was in Richmond, Kentucky.
Yeah.
With the American Legion, and they also included, Lexington's got a VA facility down there too. So he covers both it and Louisville, and a little bit of Fort Knox, because people around this area can go to Fort Knox because it's almost as close as Louisville is.
So veterans, there's a lot of issues. I mean, obviously people think of veterans benefits, but there's a lot of issues with veterans. Do you ever get involved with anything else? I mean, I know there's homeless veterans, there's veteran suicides, there's veteran drug issues. I mean, primarily, are you working with the VA, or are you just working with anybody that walks through the door?
We work with the VA, but some of these programs we're finding out about even still. Recently we found out, well, Steve is very good into the computer, and I'm a little bit old for that. I haven't brought up the computer, but he's good on that, and he's good with the facts. And recently we had a fellow in who, his records had burned up in St. Louis, as I understand. But there were copies of them in Frankfurt, and Steve gets on the facts, and 45 minutes later we got that record. So,
well, Steve, you've earned your pay already.
Yeah.
So the information that we get a lot of time comes from the vet itself and trying to figure it out. It's not on paper.
Well, it's a lot of red tape, and I know this just dealing with the veterans, not only Veterans Administration, but the military in general, being retired military. It's just finding records sometimes, DD-214s. I think sometimes people just don't realize what you have to go through just to get something as simple as that.
Yes. Yes, and knowing where to go to get that information has a lot to do with it. St. Louis has good records, but a lot of them were burned, and trying to find replacement records, I think Frankfurt is probably the best place to go for something like that. They also have a lot of records for National Guard and all the other programs prior to service.
So primarily you're here to help veterans. That's the primary purpose of the service officer. And I know you're here every Friday morning from what time?
10 to 12.
10 to 12, and you're local?
We're in New Haven the second Monday of every month from 10 to 12 as well. There on Center Street, there's a place next door to the post office. We spend 2 hours there, second Monday of the month.
Second Monday of the month in New Haven, and every Friday here on West Broadway at the American Legion Post. And again, no appointment necessary, just come in the door. But some days really busy, some days a little slow, but it's just you're here for the veteran.
Right, we'll be here, and if we're usually here a few minutes early. If you want to be the first one, get here a little early, and we'll have you covered.
Now, Steve, what makes you want to do this? I mean, I know you've been involved with several other things in the community as well, but what makes you want to be a service officer?
I just like to help my fellow veterans, I guess, and I'm retired, so I got, some extra free time, and I just like to give back to the community and help out the veterans.
And again, it's a tough program because, like I said, I've dealt with the veterans. You got to have a lot of patience. One thing I've learned with dealing with the VA is it's not something that you fill out the paperwork and next week everybody's going to show up and say, we've got this all done. If you don't have a little patience, then you don't want to fool with the VA. So
we have people to come in here to, they want a pension or something, and you get checking in, and you got to. If you didn't retire from the military, and if your means, they got a means test, is, pretty low, your income's pretty low, and you don't have no stocks or bonds or farm income or something, you just got, say, a Social Security income, nothing else, you might qualify for a pension from the
Yeah, I know I ran into a guy a little while back. He was homeless here in Nelson County, and he was a veteran, and we sent him up here, and he ended up getting some benefits he just simply didn't even know he were qualified for. So it was, in his case, a simple means of life and death. I mean, it was whether he ate or didn't eat. So it's just that meant a lot, but he just didn't even know he qualified for benefits. So the thing about the VA is the disability part of it is you may qualify for disability, but you have to have some proof that it ties into active duty service in some way, and hopefully that's where you come in as well.
That's correct. And,
we had one guy that he claimed he had a disability in Vietnam, I believe it was, and he went to the first aid and they treated him, but they never kept no records of it. So he's having a hard time proving this. And he had to go back right after he got out of the service course. He tried to make it for a couple of years, and they found out, I think it was an ankle, but we went back through with all his doctor records and made a case trying to prove that it did happen while he was in the service.
So it's got to be a clear trail. I mean, I know if you've been to Vietnam, more than likely, if you've been on the ground in Vietnam at some point, you more likely were exposed to Agent Orange. But I know when I went to VA, they asked me if I'd ever been to Vietnam. I said, been there 12 times. Well, are you qualified for it? Never landed. They said didn't count.
The key is boots on the ground.
Yeah, you got to have boots on the ground.
And we had one fellow who had applied for an increase in his disability and was turned down. And luckily, we remembered about the registry, and he had never been on it. We sent him down to the registry, and he gave him just enough information. He is approved now.
Yeah.
So the Vietnam vet who spent time on the ground in combat or other services is guaranteed 5 years of medical. So if you don't know, we'll come and ask about it.
And the same thing, just like dependent. I mean, there's some dependents that are available just maybe during World War II. It may go back that far, but there's some dependent programs that maybe people don't even know about. And again, if you don't ask, you won't find out.
And quite a bit of it, too, we run into is burial benefits. And the best place to start for that is with the funeral home that had the service, of course. He gets a lot quicker action than we can get going through the process. Yeah. But there are placards that go on tombstones. There are all kinds of benefits regarding burial.
And getting a military funeral.
Yes. Yeah. Yes, and sometimes it's just a matter of the funeral home knowing to notify the American Legion, and somebody will show up. We showed up recently for a couple of veterans.
And I know there's other things, before we get away from here, the American Legion does here as well. Y'all have got other things. There's a holiday dinners, holiday baskets. I think y'all that each year you Christmas baskets, and I know I see the star on the window there for people that's got a member in the military somewhere. That there's other burning. Y'all do a flag burning ceremony every year. A lot of things go on here. As you probably even forget about. You here yourself.
Yeah, we just postponed the burning this year because tomorrow is supposed to be a lot of wind. Tomorrow was supposed to be in the burning this year. But another thing we have here, a lot of people in the community may not know about, is country music every Saturday night. We have a nice dance here, and we'd be glad to have you. And
not only does that help just here, but I mean it helps veterans because you're actually raising some money, and it's not just having a good time, but you're actually raising money and for veterans and different other things that veterans may think about. Again, that's the whole key to it, is let people know there's benefits here. So if you think you may qualify, if you think there's something that you just have a question, you're not real sure, and I know the paperwork can be overwhelming when you get into the VA system or any kind of veteran system. You want to come give Leon and Steve a call, just stop in and see. And again, you're here every Friday morning, 10 to noon on West Broadway.
That's right.
All right, and in New Haven on the third Monday.
Third Monday.
No, second Monday.
Second Monday. Don't show up the third Monday. Yeah, you're a week late. No, second Monday. Good thing Steve's here for that. So
we'll be there to make coffee and donuts usually.
All righty. Well, we appreciate y'all being here and doing all this and letting everybody know what's going on. So we got Leon Donahue and Steve Tolliver here, and we appreciate y'all helping us out and know what's going on in American Legion Post 121, and keep it up. And I guess you'll be back Saturday night for the dance.
All right, be here Saturday night. Early.
Stick around, a lot more to come here on Community Focus Channel 6 TV. We'll be right back.